Hello, everybody. It is Mrs. Forke. I want to wish you all a happy Sunday. It is so good to be here with you. And we are in the month of August, so we are talking to you kids about wisdom. And so just to refresh our memories, let's look at our first slide to look at the definition of wisdom. I think it's coming. There it is. Wisdom is finding out what you should do and doing it. And we need God's wisdom in order to make lots of important decisions in our lives. If we find wisdom, then we'll be able to live God's way, even when it's not easy. And the wisdom we have from God is just super valuable to us. Now, last week, Mrs. Ryan talked to you about wisdom when she talked to you about Jesus as a young boy. You know, he went into the temple. He was only 12 years old, and he was talking to the church leaders. He was talking to them about the Bible, and they were just amazed at his wisdom. So we know that wisdom is super important for us to have too, godly wisdom. But then the question comes, where do we get that wisdom? You know, where do we get it, and how do we get it? And so today's story is going to be a great story that will help us learn the answers to those questions. And our story is about one of the most wisdom-filled men of all time, and his name was Solomon. And Solomon happened to be the son of King David. And we all know King David. He's that famous king. When he was a boy, he defeated and killed the giant Goliath. And he became on to be a great king of Israel. He came to be a great king of Israel. He was a man with a heart for God. And I know that because of that, he taught his son Solomon to love and trust God and to follow God's commandments. And so when Solomon died, his son David became king. So I'm going to become King Solomon right now. And I know that King Solomon wanted to be a good king to his people. And so our story continues from here, and it just gets better. What happened next was Solomon went to a city called Gibeon, and he offered sacrifices to God. That was the king's way of showing honor to God, showing God that he loved him and trusted him and wanted to follow his commands. And in giving that sacrifice, he also was telling his people, I want you to love and honor and trust God, follow his ways. So he did that. That was the first part of the story. But now to tell the rest of the story, I've got these boxes here, and I'm going to open them up one by one, and they have things in them that are going to help me tell the story. So let's go with box number one. It's so full that I can't even keep the lid on. So let's see how this helps us tell the story of Solomon. So we have a teddy bear. We have a mask. I think this is the kind of mask you put over your eyes to keep the light out. We have... I think I'll have to take my crown off. I think you wear it like this. And we also have a pillow. What do you think? What do all these things make you think of? Well, it makes me think of going to sleep, right? Put my little robe back on. There we go. Makes me think of going to sleep. And that is what happened next in the story. I don't know if Solomon took a nap or he went to bed for the night, but he fell asleep in the story, the true story, and he had a dream. And in his dream, God actually talked to him. And he said to Solomon, Solomon, ask for anything you want, and I will give it to you. Can you imagine that, kids? I mean, what would you say if God said, ask for anything you want? What would you ask for? I mean, you could ask for $1 million. You could ask for the best video system out there. You could ask to always get A's or good grades on your tests. You could ask for your favorite candy every morning, anything you wanted. And Solomon had that too. He could have asked for anything. He could have asked for, he could have asked for lots and lots of money. He could have asked for power. He could have asked God, make it so that I win all my battles when I go to battle against my enemies. He could have asked to live very, very long. Well, I wonder what Solomon asked for. And the answer is right here in the Bible, and it's from the book of 1 Kings. And this is what it said. Lord my God, you have now made me king. You have put me in place of my father David. But I'm only a young man. I don't know how to carry out my duties. I'm here among the people you have chosen, and they are a great nation. They are more than anyone can count. So give me a heart that understands. Then I can rule over your people. I can tell the difference between what is right and what is wrong." So isn't that amazing? Solomon could have asked for power or riches, but no. He knew that the most important thing to ask for was wisdom from God. He asked God to make him wise so that he could rule his people well. And now listen to how God answered Solomon when Solomon asked for wisdom. It's right here again in the Bible. And this is what God said. "Solomon, you have not asked to live for a long time. You have not asked to be wealthy. You have not even asked to have your enemies be killed. Instead, you have asked for wisdom. You want to do what is right and fair when you judge people. Because that is what you have asked for, I will give it to you. I will give you a wise and understanding heart." Did you hear what God said? He was going to give Solomon a wise and understanding heart. Solomon asked for wisdom so he could be a good king, and God gave him that. And because God was so pleased with Solomon's answer, he also gave him the wealth and the power that he did not ask for. So that's the first part of the story. Now we have another box to open. Let's see what happened next. All right. I'm going to open this one right here. We have a Burger King drink. We have some fries. And we have a bacon cheeseburger. Now, that's kind of a feast, isn't it? It's probably not a feast that King Solomon would have had with his people. You and I, we would probably have that kind of feast. But he did have a feast because Solomon went home after having that dream, went to Jerusalem, offered another sacrifice to honor God, and then he also had a great big banquet with food for all of his officials. And I think Solomon was just so thankful to God, knowing that he had God's wisdom with him now to help him rule, that he kind of had a big party. So that's what that food was all about. But now comes my favorite part of the story, because Solomon's wisdom that he just got from God was soon to be put to the test, because he had two people come to him in his court, and they were angry with each other, and they wanted Solomon to solve their problem. So he's going to have to use God's wisdom. And so let's go to our last box. And let's see how this will help us tell the rest of the story. All right. And in this box, we have a baby. Now, how is a baby? What does that have to do with Solomon's wisdom? Well, let me tell you what happened next. It's because the two women came to Solomon, and they were upset, not at Solomon, but at each other, and they were very angry. And this is what happened with these two women. One of them said, "King Solomon, both me and this other woman, we just had babies. And her baby died, and mine didn't. And now she's saying that my baby is her baby. But this is my baby." And the woman standing next to her said, "No, King Solomon, that is not true. We both had babies, but I had a baby, and hers died. I was sleeping in my bed with my baby, and she snuck the baby from me while I was sleeping and replaced it with the dead baby. And now she's got my baby, and it's my baby." And they were going back and forth arguing about, they wanted Solomon to figure it out. And Solomon said, "Stop. Give me a moment." And so he went off to pray to God. And he asked God for wisdom to help him figure out this problem because he did not know what to do. And so he came back and he said, "I have figured it out." He said, "Guard, come forward." And he asked the guard to take the baby. And the guard put the baby probably on a table. I don't know if it was exactly like this, but on a table. And then he said, "Bring me a sword." A sword was brought and given to the guard. And then Solomon said, "We will just cut the baby in half. That's my ruling." And the one woman said, "That sounds good. Then nobody will get the baby." But the other woman said, No, stop, King Solomon. I love the baby too much. I love him so much, so please don't kill him. Give him to the other woman, but please do not kill him." And then Solomon had the guard put the sword down. He picked up the baby, and he gave it to the woman who was saying, "Please don't kill the baby," because he knew that the woman that said that she loved the baby and was willing to give him up to somebody else rather than to have him killed, that was the baby's true mother. And so he made a very wise and truthful decision. And when the people of the kingdom heard what Solomon had done with that ruling on the baby, they knew that he was the man for the job, and he was going to do a great job ruling their kingdom. And remember, all of this happened because Solomon asked God for wisdom. He trusted that God was the source of all wisdom, and God made Solomon so wise that it was said that his wisdom was like the sands of the seashore. You can't count the sand at all. And so he was saying that Solomon's wisdom, you couldn't even understand it. It was so great. And just like Solomon, you can do this. Let's look at our next slide. Because just like Solomon, we can trust God to give us wisdom. And we will be talking more about how we're going to answer that question, how we can trust God to give us wisdom. But first, we want to see what the So-and-So Show guys have to say about godly wisdom. So let's watch them now.
Okay, I'm going to have to turn on a light. Okay, here we go. Oh, hi. Hey there. I'm really digging deep this week. As you can tell, I'm inside of a tunnel. And unfortunately, I think I'm stuck. Wow, this is really tight. Whew. Okay, have you ever heard of the word claustrophobia? Yeah, it's where somebody is really, really scared of tight places and small places, and they think like the walls are closing in on them, they run out of an ability to breathe, and I never thought I'd be like that, but I think I'm starting to become that. Help! Help! Somebody please! Come help me! I've dug too deep and I can't get up!
John?
Is that an angel?
No, John, it's me. What are you doing in there?
I'm stuck. I've dug deep and I can't get up. Help me.
Oh, man.
I can't dig out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon.
And I'm John.
This is the So-and-So Show.
Are you so or so?
Oh, I'm so.
Ah, good. That makes things way more clear. How did we come up with the show's name in the first place?
I don't know. It's probably just something that I came up with.
Oh, yeah. Why would it be something you came up with?
Well, when it comes to the show, I'm kind of the creative force behind it, so.
How do you figure that?
How do I figure what?
How do you figure that you're the creative force behind the show?
Well, I came up with the title.
Oh, that's speculation. Besides, people don't tune in for your creativity. They tune in for my hijinks. That's why I'm here.
The show was my idea.
The show was my idea.
There is only one way to solve this.
You're right. One way. Splitting the studio down the middle like a late 80s sitcom. That was my idea. Stop copying me. Ah!
I'll get the tape.
And I'll fast forward in time. Star Wipe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Brandon Show. I am your host, the inimitable Brandon. Today, we are diving deep into the recesses of our minds.
Cannonball! Woo! Come on!
John, do not do this.
Why not? It's time for some hijinks. Besides, you have no control over my show. Because my show is called John Show is better than Brandon's show. Woo! Here we go. Ooh. Actually, look.
What am I looking at?
The camera is on my side of the room.
No. The camera is off limits. Neither one of us can have a show without
You should have
the
thought
camera.
about that before you agreed to this contrived comedic situation. This was all part of my plan because wisdom is a John.
All right, fine. Okay, you've got the cameras, but all the sound equipment is on my side.
Who needs sound equipment?
You're still showing here. No. Welcome again to my wonderful show. And an example of verbal dexterity not seen since my sophomore year in high school, I shall sing the Major General song from Pirates of Penzance. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I've information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical from Marathon to Waterloo, and orders categorical. It's been a long time since I've done this, so I only remember the first 4 lines. You won't have a problem hearing those 5 or 6 times, right? So here we go. I am the very model of the modern... This isn't working, is it? Maybe we can put the Bible time. John, no one can hear you, all right? But hey, I've got an idea. We should go to Bible story time with Kellen.
Hey guys. Guy. Question. Why is there only one of you?
I am also here.
Oh, let me guess. The thing where you put a line of tape in the middle of the room and split everything 50-50 and things aren't going the way you planned?
How did you know?
Let's just say I've watched a TV show or two in my time. But luckily, you might be able to take away something from today's story. We're talking about a wise ruler and one of the hardest problems he ever untangled. And we're doing it with the help of our very own So-and-So Show players.
Hooray!
Okay, the star of our story today is King Solomon. Now, Solomon was the son of David, who was a very important king. Solomon had a front row seat to his father's reign and picked up a tip or two on what it meant to be a good king.
Tip number 1, always give away the full-size candy bars at Halloween. It's worth the extra price.
But Solomon didn't just get insight from watching his father. One night, God appeared to Solomon in a dream. Now, in the dream, the Lord said to Solomon, "Ask for anything you want me to give you."
Anything?
Solomon thought about what he would need to be a good ruler.
Lord, you've made me king, but I'm still very young. Give me a heart that understands. That way I can rule over your people. I can tell the difference between what is right and what is wrong.
What an incredible thing to ask for. Solomon could have asked for riches or power. He could have asked to be a foot taller or to live for 1,000 years. But instead, he asked for wisdom. The Lord was so pleased with Solomon's request, he promised to give him wisdom. And not only that, God told Solomon, "I will give you what you have not asked for. I will give you wealth and honor. As long as you live, no other king will be as great as you are."
Wow, this is great. Somebody pinch me, I must be dreaming.
Solomon realized he had been dreaming, but it was much more than a dream. His wisdom was quickly put to the test. He was approached by 2 women.
My king! My king! My king! My king! Hey, my king! My king. This woman and I live in the same house, and she is insisting that this is hers.
It is mine. It looks just like me.
What does that?
Yes, it does.
Go by.
Hey! What are we arguing about?
An X Station Playbox 10!
What?
Oh.
Pause for 1 second. Okay, so in the Bible, the 2 women are arguing over which one of them was the mother of a newborn baby, not a video game console. But the story gets kind of intense, which isn't necessarily the tone of the So-and-So Show players. So,
An X Station Playbox 10.
Solomon was in a jam. How could he possibly know who the baby belonged to? The stakes were sky high. So Solomon took a pretty wild shot.
Bring me a sword.
What are you doing?
I'm going to cut the X Station Playbox 10 in half. It's the only fair way to settle this. That way, you both have half.
Sounds good to me. Half is better than none.
Wait! If you cut it in half, it won't work.
I know, but I don't know what you want me to do.
Your Majesty, wait. Give her the X Station Playbox 10. If you cut it in half, it'll be destroyed and no one will get to enjoy the mix of next-gen graphics and high ultra processing power. She will have stolen it from me, but I care more about the X Station Playbox 10's happiness than I do mine.
Right. It belongs to her.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Not fair at all. No.
I did right by that baby. Yep. X Station Playbox 10. What's next?
The end. Let's give a big round of applause for the So-and-So Show players. All right, let's think about how wild Solomon's suggestion was. He said to cut a baby in half. That's nuts. But he would have never hurt the child. It was a test. Solomon was thoughtful about the problem, and he was kind to the real mother who was in a bit of a bind, and he trusted God for wisdom. Those are the qualities you need as a follower of Jesus. You'll have hard decisions too, but when you listen to God and the wisdom of the people he puts in your life, more often than not, you'll make a good choice. I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Kellen.
That was pretty appropriate for us. I'm glad we decided to put all this behind us.
That's right. Obviously, we can disagree about things, but cutting each other off completely isn't wise.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Did you just come up with that yourself?
No, Jonathan, that was from my freshman production of...
Reveal the question!
Today's question is, why do you need wisdom?
Well, if you get into a fight with your friend, wisdom is the thing telling you to apologize.
Yep. Or the thing telling you shouldn't eat cookies before dinner.
Yeah. Wisdom is knowing when something is right or wrong.
Splitting your room down the middle with tape is not wise, and it's a huge waste of tape.
That's very true. Wisdom, it's a John thing.
Also a Brandon thing.
And hopefully a you thing.
Until next time, I'm Brandon.
And I'm John.
This was the So-and-So Show. Have a great day.
You have a great day. Tape ball. Oh, I was hoping it would stick.
Woohoo! It's me, John, everybody. Welcome to the John Show is Better Than Brandon Show.
Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Watch what I pull out of my sleeve. It's my sweat.
Okay, here's a burpee for you. Number one. That's all I got. I'm sorry.
And we're back. And I think after watching our lesson today and listening to it, it's clear that Solomon had figured out that he could not do things by himself. He clearly needed God's help, and he had to trust that God would give him the wisdom that he needed to rule his kingdom and rule in a manner that was fair and just. And you guys know, you kids know, that you can talk to God just like Solomon did, and we can ask him for wisdom. And we can put our trust in God, knowing that he's always going to be there to help us. And you guys, a lot of times wisdom is a good thing, especially when we have choices to make. And you guys, even as kids, will have choices to make. Even simple ones where you can ask wisdom, say, God, please help me find the perfect gift for my friend, one that will cheer him up. That's a simple ask for wisdom. Or maybe mom and dad said you should not be reading at night under the covers because you need your sleep. And so you can say, oh, God, I really want to read this book, but please give me the wisdom to realize that I'm going to be grumpy if I don't get enough sleep and I won't do as well in school. So give me that kind of wisdom. Or maybe it's just wisdom, please, God, help me to choose good friends because I know how much friends influence me. Or even another friend one, God, my friend's asking me to do something I know I shouldn't do. Please give me the wisdom to choose the words that I need to talk to my friend about how that would be a wrong choice. And I also think it's kind of cool that Solomon asked for wisdom when he was quite young, because wisdom is something we need at any age. We can grow in wisdom when we're young. We can grow in wisdom when we're old. So don't forget to ask God for the wisdom that you need. We know that it always comes from him, and he will provide us with that. And so now I want us to go to our next slide because I'm going to show you the Bible verse from God that talks about wisdom. I love this Bible verse. It's from the book of James, and this is what it says. If any of you needs wisdom, you should ask God for it. He will give it to you. God gives freely to everyone and doesn't find fault. Right from the Bible, that God will give us wisdom. And we need to remember that God has given us the gift of the Bible, because when you read the Bible, that is full of God's wisdom. And every time you read it, you can grow in God's wisdom. So don't forget to pick up that Bible and read that, especially for those of you that are old enough to read. And also we need to remember that God does put people in our life to help give us godly wisdom, like parents or friends or teachers or small group leaders or pastors. Whatever it is, there are people in our lives that we can go to ask for help, and those people can give us godly wisdom as well. All right, so I think that is good enough for today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I do want us to pray first, so if you could fold your hands with me and we can pray. God, you are full of wisdom and truth. We know that all understanding comes from you. Please help us to seek your wisdom and find it, just like Solomon. Help us to grow in our relationship with you so we can find out what we should do and then do it. We love you, and we pray these things in your name. Amen. All right, just one quick announcement again. Just a reminder that the Children's Sunday School and Discovery Club registration is on the Peace website, the Peace Facebook page, and the Children's Facebook page. You can just go ahead and fill that out and then just click send. It'll go right to Kristen Brantner, and then she will get those registrations to us. We ask that you could do that as soon as you can, just because one of our harder jobs is to get all those put together and get kids in the right classrooms with the right teachers. And also, we are also looking for a little more help as far as small group leaders or substitute small group leaders. So if you get a hold of Kathy Ryan or myself, and let us know if that is something that's on your heart, something that you would be wanting to serve in that way, we would love to have you on board in either one of those ministries. So that is it for today. I ask that you have a great rest of your Sunday and a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next time.